So let's get to play with color. So when I first created this idea, I thought that the S would be a different color so that you could actually tell it was an S and not just kind of a curvy figure. So let's go ahead and ungroup anything we have grouped. I think this is grouped and that is grouped. So I vectorized it so they're all separate elements so I can have complete control over color. So I thought, okay, so spa, salon, yoga. I'm thinking cool colors just right off the bat, very calming. I don't think I want to do warm tones for this, although I could use some brown, earthy warm tones, but I think I'm going to keep with the blue-green kind of colors. So let's try out, and we're just kind of playing around here, guessing what would work. I wish I could get live feedback from you guys to get ideas, but fortunately I can't. Let's pair that with a light gray, see if we like it. So that's an option. Or keep that dark. So the S really pops out and you can see that we're playing along with the beginning letter of swan. So let's keep playing, maybe try a darker, or maybe keep that dark and make this light blue, the wings. Let me try maybe a purple, light purple. I kind of like the blues a little bit better. Because purple you start to get almost too feminine. I don't want this to be such a feminine logo. It's already curvy, it's already slanting that way. That's not a bad thing. I just want to make sure I appeal to more people as possible with it. I could bring out the blue in the lettering. That is an option I would present, but I personally don't like it as much, but that could be something. You never know what a client's going to like. They usually like the ones you don't like. That's just how it goes sometimes. Let me do more subtle colors. Let me get everything lighter. And if I ever get stuck with choosing colors here in the color panel, I will go to swatches and load my library of swatches right down here. There's a lot of good default swatches, and sometimes this can kind of help me get started. And you can also download swatches off the internet if you want a certain kind of palette. So this helps. If I want to go with those earthy tones, there's some really good earthy tones. That looks good. How can I do that with contrast? That is a possibility. And maybe if I make this, instead of the swan yellow, I can make that a little bit lighter. But once again, when it's zoomed out, I'm not going to see that. So I think it would probably look good with our cleaner sans serif font. That'll pop out better than this one over here. See, with that color. That's an option. It's almost too much contrast. So let me see if I can pair that with something. I don't know. This is where there's a little bit more, they call it subjectivity. Ooh, that's subtle. I like that. Where everyone has their own preferences. What I like is not what you like. You may go, that's hideous. That's okay. It really matters what the client likes. And if the client likes it, then I like it because I get paid. So in the end, sometimes the client wins. So that's why it's good to present options. And I can already tell I don't like that one, so I'm just going to erase it. I don't think I like that one either. It's okay. But we're getting some final contenders. Let's do one more because we can continue to do this for so long it ends up wasting a lot of our precious design time. So let's kind of wrap it up with colors. Of course, you can always do a mood board. You can sit down with the client and ask them what kind of color palette maybe they have in mind. Maybe they're painting their walls a certain color and you can derive your inspiration from what they're doing with their interior design. So there's a lot of different ways to get inspiration for colors. You just don't have to guess. There can be a source of inspiration from somewhere else. So I might load another couple palettes. I'm going to play with 2 more logo color options and then we're going to wrap it up. So as you can see, I came up with a couple different combinations of color. There's some subtle ones and there's our higher contrast ones. I even tried one with a brighter color, and I brought in a watercolor texture. I'm going to copy paste this. I actually drew this in Procreate, this little watercolor texture, and I applied it to just the S using a clipping mask. So you can see I have one that has a kind of a blue watercolor texture, which would be great to use in some cases. I won't be able to use that on embroidery or smaller print items. So I think it's good to present a couple of these to the client. I'm not sure which one they would go for. I'm kind of liking the more subtle one, but I like that one too. I kind of like more of the grays, neutral colors, as opposed to the bright, grabbing you kind of colors, because I think with a high-end spa, salon, yoga, you're talking about calmness, serenity. So I'm kind of feeling these two, although I do love the idea of watercolor and applying kind of a watercolor texture. So these are kind of the ones I am gravitating toward, but it's not my choice, it's the client's choice. So I'm going to send these out and see what they think. I'm going to apply it to a mock-up or two so I can kind of validate my design to see if I think it's going to be able to be flexible and extend to other branding items. So I'm going to do that and show you a few mock-ups, and I think we're done.